Alright, hello, hello, hello. How's it going there, Alistair? How's it going there, Lone Rider 414? How are you guys? Alright, so go ahead and work on the VTOL again. Alright, so back to the VTOL. Hopefully be able to carry, well, should be able to. I don't see any issues with it. Should be able to carry 2 cargo containers at a time. Did some extra work last night. Got the shaping done of the nose of the aircraft. We got the turbines installed, high bypass turbofans. We put the fans in. So want to get it functional. Like to get this flying is ideally what I'd like to do. Gotta get a bunch of night owl systems in. So let's grab that. The nice thing is part of why I started a new build instead of working on that old one is I'm hoping that I can get most of night owl in. And minimize the amount of build shifts required here. So, a pain to get that in there like that. Let's see. I'm hurting on space here. Could trim out most of the rear stuff here, and I'm trying to get this somewhere and cut it, but it needs to be a pain in the ass. Let's see. Let's first see what I have in here, because a lot of this is going. So some of the stuff needs to be here for the wings. So I have to play with that stuff to see which one. You know, so I'll leave that stuff for now. I'm not going to take a hacksaw on anything, but let's... I'm going to have to work these a little bit, so let's see. I won't worry about these fans yet. I need to play with the orientation on those. So let's go ahead and we'll grab Night Owl, start working on Night Owl systems. And pull in them. Trim out as many systems as I can. That will help. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's trim up Night Owl. I think what we'll do is this. I will grab out a segment of Night Owl that I can work with in that area, because I want to make this as easy to connect. Let me look at all the connections. That is just that's just naming on that. That is APU. So APU is in the tail. Alright, so pretty much if I trim the tail off here, I'll split this in 2 sections and then we should be good to go here. So let's say right about there. And then I should hopefully be able to bring this in on top of the other one. It's going to be a lot easier to move panels in this way. That's the benefit of having a build that this is going to highly mimic, is it's easy to do. Where the hell is the... there it is right there. It's like, where are the arrows? Alright, let's see if we can get this in the corner over here. The tail was a problem. So we're going to get this low enough to sit under the wing. I think we should pretty much be able to do this. And then the tail components aren't a big deal. I can fix those. Oh, you're gonna be this way, aren't you? Oh, see, we can go a little bit left. Alright, that will just barely fit in, and I can trim what I need to, so... Not ideal, but that's not the end of the world. Alright, so we can start trimming up. How's it going there, Rasmus? Hello, hello, hello. What did I trim out of the nose? Hopefully nothing important. I think it's just a lot of weight. Alright, so let's look at the fans. I want to orient these fans, and I gotta do them all. So that needs to be forward right on the top here. That's forward right on the top there. Go neutral. that there is going to be forward left. Neutral, and then what did I decided I wanted more blades. I think I'm going to do at least a 5 on there. Do 6. We'll try 6s, see what 6s look like for me. Alright, so the orientation is correct. Now I need to do the other side. So, need to think of how this is going to work. So, the way that yaw is going to work is pitch. So, in order for us to yaw to the right, we need the left side to pitch forward, the right side to pitch rearward, and that will work. So, the pitches should all be facing forward. Alright. And then in order to... double check that. For some reason that doesn't look right. It is. Okay. So in order for us to roll, we're going to use collective. So the collective on the... I might flip the bottoms. I'm probably going to flip the bottoms. I don't know. I don't know. I might just invert them. The collective's going to have to be inverted on that. I have to think about it for a second. Let's just delete the bottoms for now. I want to get a test flight going. Is the most important thing. And then this is... well, we might have to move the props or not. I don't know. Alright, so that is set up the way this is. Let's run with 2 for now, and then we'll double them up if need be. But that's forward and in, essentially. Alright, then for collective, essentially what's going to happen is... we're going to have one collective go up, one collective go down. That's going to tilt us either port or starboard, and then pitch is pitch. So pitch works fine the way it is. How's it going there, Sergeant? Hello, hello. Both places, excellent. All right, yeah. So let's start with this. I'll figure out if I want to change it later. Yeah. All right, so that's in. And then I want to grab all the info for this. So this is going to be starboard pitch. Kind of rough to get a starboard roll. Starboard collective. All right, so there's all the stars. That's going to be roll right there. Port pitch. Port collective. Alright, so those are good. Alright, so those are installed. Let's grab, for now at least, we're going to grab the cockpit out of here, and we're going to run that as a one-to-one cockpit just to make it easier. And then I can make edits to it later. Do I have everything? I believe I do except the side panels. So let's go ahead and we'll just go zing and zang. Then overhead panel. That's got everything. Alright, so that's pretty much the cockpit as a module. Trim off the parts, we'll slide that in. It has a GPS. I don't know why it has a GPS, but it does. That needs to come out. What are you going to, GPS? Why are you here? It should be physics sensor at this point. Alright, I gotta put in... I'm gonna put in a more modern bearing panel later. With that, it uses physics sensor now instead of a GPS, so I don't know why that's in there. And then I have kit goes there. Just trim that for now. I'll work on that. Let's see, I got a panel here. I got a couple panels I have to worry about. So take it a little bit slow to get these in there. Alright, and then we're gonna end up widening these, so we'll do that now. So there is the cockpit. This saves us an absolute ton of time. It's going to get some sort of customization, but not a huge amount. Let me see how high I have this. I have it one too high. Okay. I kind of want it up higher. I don't know, man. We'll press it in and I'll see if I want to change it. I killed the wind. Yeah, I can't do that. I gotta come back one. I gotta come down. Alright, that will fit. And then we'll play with it from there. So that's kind of the cockpit. Let's go sit in there real quick. Overhead panel needs to come back in. But definitely I want the 6-pack up, so I need to move the 6-pack up, I would say. Because I want to be seeing the 6-pack right in front of me. I don't know, we'll see how I want to do that. It's not bad in Night Owl, so... yeah, it's not terrible. It's not too bad. I want to get a test flight out of it, so that's important to me. Let's go ahead and get this panel in. Alright, so there's the overhead panel. There for now. Let's get functional items in there. Alright, so that is helpful. And what do we have in here? We got a bunch of stuff in here. Gear, I'm going to redo the gear, but I do need gear in here to be able to take off, so. A lot of this work is going to be just done on the other one. The microcontrollers will work fine, so I just need to plug in elements of it that I need. Keep that relay for electricity purposes. You can see how much weight I banged in the nose of this. Alright, there's relays. We have all of the nose wheel stuff. I probably could just slam some of that in there. It's gonna get a bigger nose wheel than this, so yeah, I gotta get it right in there for testing, so just for now, let's try to strip it in there. At least have something for wheels. I can upgrade them later. Get all the gear doors. Where the gear doors end? Let me look. Gear doors go all the way back to here. Okay. Alright, so let's grab that out. Clean it up. Let's see what needs to go in there. And I'll end up putting a bigger wheel on it. Tracks can go. trim out whatever I don't need. So I think all this is crap I don't need. That can go. That's a micro. Make sure I didn't delete any micros. I don't believe I did. No. Okay. What are you? Probably the gear panel? Lights. Okay, that's lights. That can go there. Alright, so I thought Night Owl was all the way up to date, but Night Owl still is using a compass, which should be changed over to a physics sensor, so unfortunately Night Owl is not as up to date as I would like. So I gotta upgrade a bunch of Night Owl systems to physics sensor. Not the end of the world, but a kind of a pain in the ass. Alright, you can go. I will change you out later. Make sure I didn't delete the doors. I didn't. Okay, there we go. Okay. There are my gear doors. Battle cannons can go. I'll move the electric relays. Those can really go anywhere. They'll end up probably going in the nose, but a lot of the avionics are generally stuffed in the nose because they have to go to the cockpit anyway, so they might as well put them in the nose. Alright, so we have the locks and everything. Go ahead, and I'm going to swap you out. Go. Alright. This has all the components for the nose wheel, and we'll change that up as necessary. There's nose wheel. Okay. So that should accommodate the nose wheel. I don't need to necessarily put the gear up right now. I just need that in. This is going to get a double wide nose wheel. Kind of signify it's a bigger airplane. Right, that we need the electric relay. Again, trying to keep as much of the stuff plugged in as possible to reduce build time. So it's just me redoing stuff. I'd rather not if I can avoid it. Okay, check chat in a second, guys. Okay, so a bunch of systems down there. Probably the hypnocells are gonna go in. Let's see. Let's take a look at that. All right, nothing in the floor that I need. This can go. I don't need anything from the ramp. The new ramp's actually better anyway. A bunch of that is going to be necessary for... That's fuel cross-feed. Okay. This should all, don't do that. This should all be, yep, that's all stuff that can go. This should all be stuff that can go. Yep. That should be able to go. That should be able to go. All right, good. We're starting to get down to the nitties and the gritties of what needs to be in this. That's ramp controller. I'll have to rewrite a lot of ramp controller, but I'll keep some parts. Microcontroller. I don't think I need really anything for ceiling except the light and the transponder locator. The light, that was in fact the light. All right, so transponder locator light right there. Hopefully that muted before I sneezed. You need that airspeed indicator. There's a big micro there. It's been a while since I've been in this build, so I don't know where a lot of the stuff is. So it's stripping out pretty nicely. Battery right there. Bring the battery along. Probably just grab these turbines. What are these? Doubles? Doubles. These are doubles. Triples? No, these are doubles. Alright, those are doubles. I might just pull those turbine sections out too if they're already pre-built, which they are. Alright, for now, I'm going to try putting these hips on, and we'll modify them later. I'm just, again, I want to get it in the air as fast as possible. That tells us if it's going to be viable, if it's going to work. Should, but if it doesn't, I'd rather catch it and make some changes early than have to deal with it later. So this just makes it a hell of a lot easier. Alright, I'm going to see. Cat's being Dr. Distraction. We're going to get more wheels in here, but for now, again, the weights really are not a big deal in game, so I'm just going to stick what we have on there, and then I will modify them, the beef can of them a little bit. We'll build custom doors later. I don't really need the doors. The entry doors be the same. I can make those later. But a lot of this is like there's landing lights on the doors here, so a lot of this by duplicating this is makes it a hell of a lot easier. You get moving. It's got a good risk of tail strike now, so we do need to do some changes in that to prevent tail strike. Same door there, yeah. I'll catch up with Chad here in a second. How's it going, Zachy? Good to see you, Zachy. How are ya? Catch up. Why don't I cut and paste? What do you mean? What are you talking about? What am I doing right now? How's it going there, Chris? How are you? Alrighty. I gotta watch what I'm doing on the other side here. I gotta kill symmetry. Could accidentally delete something on this side. Shouldn't be anything in the way, but better to nip that in the bud right now. Got anything necessary in the middle? I don't think we do. Just cross-feed valves. Not necessary. Ground services. Alright, there we go. What are you? You're just wall. Alrighty. And what are you? You are the bearing. Why is the bearing panel so huge? Probably because this is on. Does not have the physics sensor. Okay, it does a physics sensor, but this one also has radio. See, it has compass, which I can get rid of. They added compass to the physics sensor later, so I don't know where I left off in this, but a bunch of this can be, like, all GPS, X, and Y, and compass, so these three can be gone. Yeah, this has the radio still in it, so it also has cameras on it, so I can trim this out later. That's what that is. That's the bearing panel. Alright, bearing panel's pretty compact at this point. What do you? You can go. Alright. There's crossfeed there. Right, most of the engine components I am gonna end up. We might not rebuild the engine. I might just keep the engine components in there and we'll just add to them. But there are certain elements I want to copy over. Now, I don't need the wings anymore. Wings can go. What do I need to? I need pretty much to the... I want the lights. So the lights are there. In there, alright, good. Nav lights, yep, alright, good. Alright, those are good. I just deleted what I fucking wanted because the cat's jumping on me. Alright, there we go. This already has them in there too, I guess, so check which system that's on. Right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and I'm going to tear these engines apart, these turbines apart, because I want to. A lot of the workings in these, the way the clutches work, are going to get put in here anyway, so I might as well just dupe them out. Bigger fan sections, but that's about it. That's interesting. That has a okay, so that's light. That's what I need to do that then too. Can't do that big intake fan on there because I'll have to see. That intake fan could give me too much thrust that I have to worry about. check something on this. I need to check something on this one over here. Yeah, crap. Way frickin' back. Okay, screw it. I know what was there. They have ducted fans on the front of these for actual thrust. I'm trying to side. Because these, the problem with these is as the engine spins, it's going to give you forward thrust, which is fine if you're not trying to hover. So I might have to dick around with these and get rid of these, or just disconnect them. I can push them back and disconnect them. So we'll have to see. Because I'm using, I think I'm just using ducts on the front, am I? And this one's actually, is it connected on this one? No. I very rarely actually connect these on the back because I don't want the smoke. So you see they're just not connected. That's generally what I do. Yeah, so I actually have one in the front, so I should be able to get good power out of this for this larger build. Let's see. Let's see what I can take out of these turbines. Oh, stop. If I can avoid having to rebuild some of this, that is great. That, I'm definitely not putting that in the front. That's going to go in the rear. Let's see. You are going to be clutch going to what? They're all labeled. So that is fan clutch. All right. Prop clutch. Prop clutch, huh? Okay, prop clutch. Generator. All right, so I've got them labeled out. I'm going to just stick with the what I have in here ready for, and I'm going to just rebuild these. I'm fuck off. I did color swap. Let's. There we go. So I've got a stack of 4 fans. Whether I'll be able to spin 4 fans or not is yet to be seen. Could be too much. I have to play with, like, I'm only having 2 turbines here, so I have to play with how strong these are going to be. So it's going to be, give me a balancing act, but it's not a big deal. Just testing. Just a bunch of testing needs to be done. Alright, so I need to start working in some of the systems here. So this here is, let me check how I have this geared up. Alright, so there is the turbine there. So I have, okay, I have a single, on the Night Owl, I have a single turbine stage, I have dual turbine stages on these. So that will increase the power considerably. And then I need to worry about gearing. Where is this going? Is the question. That is likely fan clutch, right? Look. That there is the fan clutches. This is the prop clutches. This is the generator here. So I'm gonna redo all this. Kind of a pain in the ass to redo it, but it's also it's gonna be easier than having to screw around too much. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna redo all of it. All right. Be a bunch of connections, but it's not a big deal. All right. So first thing we need to do is go ahead, keep symmetry on. Cut, 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 cut. Okay, this goes to the actual fans in the rear. I could throw those in the front. I might throw them in the front. Yeah, let's do this. Let's take a blowtorch to this real quick, because I can redesign some of this here. I'll do that. I can get this more compact. Kind of looking at some of this with fresh eyes. So for now, let's cut you out of there. So let's make that fan dead in the front. I really think... Oh, Christ. What did I just do to the wall here? Just absolutely shithouse this wall here. So I'll show you how this is going to work. So there's some concerns with making this a VTOL. This front fan gives you thrust when it spins. And so if we're idling, like... So our engines are going to have to spool up to be able to vertically hold us. And so the problem is that's going to give us forward thrust. And we don't really want forward thrust. Now, we could counteract that, but I have to do pit tuning and all this other shit. I don't want to get into that. So what I think I'm going to do is we'll make that front fan just visual and dead. And so I want to make these are going to be high bypass turbofans anyway. Let's just absolutely take a blowtorch to these and redo them. Alright, so let's see. We're going to disconnect this front. Let's see what these... I don't think I can put it... I've never put a big ducted fan on anything, I don't think. And I don't think I may be able to fit it in here. I doubt it. It might be close. Let's check. I might be able to get it to sit in the nacelle. If I can get it to sit in the nacelle, I can put the bigger fans on. No. No. I can't. No. No. That's fine. I've never been able to fit one of those in there anyway. Alright. Usually do the small ones all the time. Alright. Can't see which side that's on. Alright. Should be there. Are you there, sir or madam? You are. Okay, good. It's just, yeah, I gotta do it, but if I'm gonna do it right. Let's try 4. Whether I can power 4 is yet to be seen. I can always trim them out. So if I build it like this first, we're in better shape, I think. So I want it to be a high bypass turbofan. Let's go ahead and get some jet parts. I keep wanting them to be named turbine, and then they end up coming up jet. Alright, and then we'll go to... Where's... so I put compressor. Where's the combustion? Combustion chamber. Combustion chamber. And then that will go. That's fine. Point like that. And then we'll do turbine, turbine. Turbine, turbine. Alright, so that's going to be our engine. And then I can start to do the bypass ring on this. One thing I could slam these engines bigger, too. I think they'll look fine bigger. Let's make them bigger. Let's completely blowtorch this bitch. I'll rework it completely. 'Cause I've got, want to increase the diameter of it a little bit. Especially that will help with the bypass look. No, thank you, Glad. You like the wing pods? I'm ripping them apart, but they'll look good when they're done. I think they'll be an improvement over what I have now. So I want to make this look like a high bypass turbofan, and so for that I really need to scale them correctly. What happened here? I should probably just change that to 4s, I think, is what I'm going to do. Yeah, that interior one didn't get changed to a 4. That's what the problem was. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to redo this whole John, because I want this as a high bypass. So what we'll do is come in here. Then I need to build the ring. Alright, and then what I want to do is I want to try doing large ducted fans here. I have not used the larges yet, and I would like to try. So let's go ahead and backward? You are. Alright, so that's going to be the new diameter there. So I want this to look out like it has proportional engines. It was looking a little bit too thinly. All right, so that's going to be the intakes. That looks better. All right, now to run something this big, I think 2 is going to be probably max on these. We'll run 2. And this is going to be the bypass section. So let's cut this. I want to make... Got a red door and I want to paint it black. Alright, and that's where the connections are going to go for that. And then the front is going to get cowling. No stop. No stop. Hate it when I put my hand on the wrong spot of the keyboard. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah, so this should make these more powerful and also give them a good look that I want. Okay. Oh, shit. I screwed that one up. Oh, stop. Go. I can't see anything with the black. Let's do this. That's the new thing I've been doing is I just pick a color to swap. Oh, fuck off with the color swap again. It's one of those days where I hit every wrong button. There we go. There we go. So I have the Q&A this week, which will be nice. Enjoyed the last one. Plan is to live stream that. I did not intend to pull that. That's not pulled there. But I think this will look good. This will be a good scale for these. I'm trying to get a set. I want to make a set of turbines so that I have them and I don't have to rebuild them all the time. I'm gonna see if I can do this, or if I'm gonna have to. I might be constricting these too much, so I gotta see. This could be iffy how I want to do this. Am I pressing the wrong keys every time? I think I am. See, I don't want to restrict the interior of this too much, so I got to see if I can get it thinned out. Not too bad. Yeah, I think going the 2s there is a mistake. Let's try something here. Yeah, I think, let's see. See if I can just rack this up here. Wrap this right there. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do here. That's not bad there. Yeah, that works for me. I think that's what we're going to do for the intake and then a cell. Alright, then we need the high bypass section. So this section's bypass air. So that is going to go around the core. And so let's I'll grab a couple high bypasses. High bypass. Turbo fan. Take some pictures. We'll look at some pictures here. Let's check up the chat here real quick. Zach will be back in 30 minutes. Alright, let's look. Zach will be back in 30. It's not too bad, the logic. The first time working through it can be a challenge, but then it's just mostly plug and play at this point. How's it going there, Mirror? Those sweaty palms from the hurricane rescues? Yes. Alright, let's see. Alright, so let's grab some pictures of high bypass turbofan. So, we'll go over this again real quick. So, the whole point of a high bypass turbofan is the bypass portion of the high bypass. This is a good image here. Good GIF even. So, the way that turbines used to work before is they had very narrow N1 sections. This is the N1 fan right here, and so the air would all go through the core. And so all the air would come in through here. It would go through the N1 section, go through the N2 section, which is the compressor section, go into the combustion chamber where it goes through the burner cans. Then you have the turbine section. The turbine section, as you can see, this is a turbine blade right here. It is directly connected. That's why it's yellow. It's connected to the compressor section. These are turbine blades for the N1 section. As you can see, they're the same color because they are shaft connected. So notice the speeds of this one, it matches the speed of this one. The speed of this turbine matches the speed of this compressor section here. And then the bypass section is this. So the tips of the N1 blades, the air comes through, but it never goes through the core. It bypasses the core. So like 95% of the volume of air bypasses the core of the engine. That allows you to make bigger diameter blades and increase your efficiencies much greater. So this is essentially what we're building. Is the core is going to be narrow, and we're going to make the front inlet is large, and most of the air bypasses. So that's what a high bypass. Let me see if we can get a low bypass turbo fan. So, like, the old school were low bypass turbofans. So, like, if you look here, the air comes straight in, and all of the air that comes into the engine goes right through the core. So that's low bypass. So, you know, or some of it might go around, but not a lot. So here's, like, that's a low bypass up top. Here's a high bypass. So all of this air up here going through this part of the blade bypasses the core. Only this portion here goes into the core, and then on this one, everything goes through the core. You might get some to bypass here. That's a bypass duct right here. So there's low bypass. Some are no bypass, where nothing bypasses. It goes all the way through. So And there's big benefits in that. Essentially, it's like having a turboprop. You can increase the N1 section, greatly increasing the efficiency. You don't have to push everything through the core. So that was a big thing. Like they were going to do prop jets for a while. They were testing the viability of prop jets. Fan jet? Maybe it was fan jet. I'm trying to remember fan jet. Oh no, it's not fan jet. What the hell are they? I thought they were calling it prop jets. They were all experimental. Here is like right here. They're even like trying to think about bringing some of them back, like this right here. This is what they were thinking of doing for a while. Was do this type of turbine. You can see like they're testing this. This is kind of a newer design. They had some old school ones. Google's been terrible lately. It really has. It's using AI. Here it is right here. This is open fin jet right here. So this is on a 727. And so this is what they were coming up with before they went to high bypass turbofans was, again, this is low bypass. It goes right in here. And then it will spin these blades up, which will greatly increase the diameter. So you can see this is what they were thinking about doing for a while there. But they were freaking loud. And and then there were fears that you send a blade right through the fuselage, which is never a good thing. So like there's one right here. Yeah, and so instead they just do high bypass turbofans now. So like this is what one looks like. So this is the core right here, and then that's the all bypass there. So it's a much more efficient system. You can increase the diameter. Then you start running into problems like you see how wiggle the tips are. That's to prevent the tips from going supersonic, because the larger the diameter, the faster this blade has to go. So the tip of the blade has to go faster than the hub of the blade, because it has to cover all of this distance in the same amount of time that the base has to cover this short distance. And so these tips break the speed of sound, and that causes huge problems, mechanical stresses and sound, and so you have to do angles to try to break the shock waves and a bunch of other bullshit. So that is currently one of the issues they're running into with that. But, yep, so some good stuff there. I'm just reading some chat. All right, let's go ahead and, so probably I'd say the bypass section is going to go to here. So one of the reasons I want to increase the diameter of those is if I increase the diameter there, hopefully I should be able to, shrink how far forward back the engines go, but we'll see. But I think I should be able to get these to look pretty good. Try to decide what I want to do here. Let's cut that for now, and I'll figure that out later. Get my engines in, and then I'll come up with a join strategy here. Just want to get it done, and then I'll join the nacelles later. So I'm thinking that's probably where the, I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to probably end up shrinking this too, but let's get the core installed in the engine too. And then I can determine how long I want this. We'll actually stop there and we'll just keep working on the core. So we're going to so we have our 2 fans in there, and then what we want to do is do jet. And we want compressor sections. I'm going to actually, you know what we'll do? So the engines should be identical. They shouldn't be flip-flopped. So what I'm going to do is actually stop symmetry. I'm going to build the engine on this side, and then I will go ahead and I'll dupe it. Because IRL, you don't have a left turn and a right turn engine. In most commercial operations, you have the same engine. So, for example, if you have a rack of 5 engines and you need to replace your port engine, you just pull one off the rack. If you get another airplane comes in and says, hey, I need the starboard engine, you just pull one off the rack. You don't have to be like, oh, well, I need a left-hand engine or I need a right-hand engine. That causes a huge amount of logistic problems. Combustiones. And then it doesn't matter, we'll go straight up on that. And then we want to go, I think 2 is about as much as I can get enough extra power out of. So that's probably the core, the bypass and the core there. So let's go ahead and so let's see. Yeah, so I need to get the fuel to there, so let's go fuel sideways. Like that. Alright. That will be my torque connection. Alright, so that is the torque transfer there. And then what we want to do is, I would say, go like this. I don't like having such long 45s on these, but I can't do anything about it. They kind of have to be that way. Yeah, I'll see what I can do to... you know what? I could do this. Trim you. Because I really hate overly long 45 sections in the engine. Just anywhere, it just looks gross to me. What we'll do is we'll do this. Let's try that. See if I prefer this. It's gonna flatten out too much if I do this. We'll see. Let's not do that. Let's try something here. Make it a little bit more oblong. I don't like the shape when it's 45s for too long. I just don't care for the shape of it. Now that will go like that. Alright, let's go. I think this is what I wanted to do. We'll see how that turns out. It's gonna be funky to try to get this to not be gross, the angles on this. But hopefully we can put enough pizzazz on there. It doesn't look bad. So let's go. Gonna be problems. Just don't like the look of it. It's problematic. bypass ring should hang out quite a bit. So so I'm trying to see where we can be here. Might like that better. See, I don't want, it can't stick. Let's see. Come on, man. Press P again without doing the thing, bros. And you end up nitpicking the stuff because you're eyeballing it really hard right now, and then like you don't give a shit later, and it's like, so I'm trying to just like let it go, and then I can always redesign it later. That's the other thing is, always come back and redo it if you don't like it. You know, it's you're not married to it. Just come back to it. But I get hung up at the moment sometimes of like, oh, I don't like the look of it, and then I have to dick with it. So. Could go to like 4 bangers when I go into the core. I'm at the core. When I go from the core into the bypass section. So that's always an option too. But I'm actually digging it a little bit more now that I've kind of got the nozzle built in there. Alright, so that's where the bypass ring is going to go, is to there. Let's get this kind of finished up in here. The bypass ring will come back more. I'm just trying to look at it a little bit. I'll worry about attachment in a second, so let's not worry about that yet. So bypass ring will come to probably, let's find some. Actually found a way to shut off Google's AI bullshit, or show me results, which would be nice. I'm sick of seeing it. It comes about mid-turbine, I'd say. That's actually a long, yeah, length is, a lot of them are pretty long before they go to the core section, so right there is probably good. So give me plenty of interior space for all the workings too. And I'll delete that out there, delete that, delete that, delete that. All right, good. I think that's where the bypass will go to, is here. There we go. All right, good. They put these new cool spikes on there for noise abatement. So let me see if I can find them. On a bunch of the new GEs have them. I think 787 has them, so let's see, 787. If the 787 ever runs and it's just not in the hangar all the time. Because of them cheating again. Boeing and the cheating. Let's see. Alright, so you see right here, this is what I'm talking about. These saw teeth here are for noise reduction. So they make little vortices to cut the noise down. That's why they put them on there. So, you know, a lot of these things changed when computer modeling started getting ubiquitous and they started using them for everything. Because, like, you know, before it was a lot of guesswork, and so it's like now what they'll do is they'll tend to have the computer figure out what is the best, most aerodynamic design, or what is the quietest design, where before it was just people trying things out and putting them through the wind tunnel. And so you ended up with, you know, like, for example, Airbus's winglets looked different than Boeing winglets, and part of it was just like, You know, they're kind of guessing on those things, and then they started looking more and more similar as, you know, the computer models kind of like pop out, this is the most efficient design that saves you the most money, and so then they start looking all the same because it's like there's one most efficient design for, you know, a particular job. So that's what ends up happening. Let's probably go short on these. It's gonna look funky like that. God, click the right button, Jesus. Turn it 5 times. So these are like I said, these are put on for noise abatement, to cut the noise down. As the air makes vortices, it essentially all the air bangs into one another, and it kind of deadens out the noise. That's why they put those spikes on the back. They look damn cool, but that's not the reason why I spent millions of dollars on this shit. It's not for cool. It's for gutta. It's very much for gutta. You know, they must do it to cut down the fuel usage. Because that's the big thing, is cutting the fuel usage down. Let's just cut all this and I'll redo it. Alright, so let's go in here. Let's go cut a 4-banger on that. Cut a 4-banger on that. We will go ahead and take you, son. Oh, Jesus Christ. How many buttons can I hit that I don't mean to hit? Am I taking crazy pills with which key flips this thing the right way? Now U is not flipping the direction I thought it should. Definitely like I'm taking crazy pills here. I'm gonna XML a block in there. Those look ugly as shit. We'll leave them for now. I'll fix it later. I'm actually liking it. It's kind of beefy and scraggly. I like that. It's actually coming out all right. A little bit of beef on this, especially its job is to be a heavy lifting platform, so it's should look pretty damn beefy. Yeah, so I'm digging it. And this will get. We need a pipe. This gives us plenty of room to feed both fuel, or well, mainly we're going to feed fuel, but we also need to feed RPS through the wing. So that will give us a good, nice open platform to do that in. And then let's get veg. All right, that's good. And veg. Come on, stick in there, sucker. Stick in there, sucker. All right, there we go. And that can go like this. Alright, so I'm liking that. That looks beef cannon. That looks proportionally correct. I'm liking the general shape of it. Let's go give it a walk around. Oh yeah, baby. That looks good beef. I'm missing a spike there. That will get its spike. Might even go 4s in the spikes. We'll see. But yeah, I'm liking those turbines. Catch up on this here chat. Turbo Fran. Yeah, exactly. There's not like, it used to be cool, like, when they came up with the different designs. It was, like, pretty much, like, somebody came up with an idea, they put it through the wind tunnel, it passed the wind tunnel, see you later, it's in the build. And they don't do that anymore, and unfortunately, it's kind of boring. It makes it kind of boring, but I'm digging these here. Alright, so let's go ahead. We need a bunch of systems, so we have a copious amounts of room in here, which is gorgeous. Alright, so here's the turbine RPS linkage right here, and so what we're going to do is... we'll switch to pipe in here, and we'll go up here, and then, yeah, let's go up. All right, so this is going to go to the front here, and it's also going to go to the, let me see, I hope I have a, can I cut in there? This is problematic if I do it that way. I'm going to have to come down and around. That's fine. Because I need to get fuel up there too. So that's not a problem. Let's go. Come on, Jesus, where am I? The camera acceleration or whatever it does is quite fucking frustrating. It really is. Because I need to get fuel through the nacelle as well. Into the wing. So that there, and then this will attach to, so these are the turbines. They're going to come up. This is going to get its own gear ratio for the fans, and it needs the clutch. So it needs to be geared and clutched. So what we'll likely do is let's go gear. Did I not click on the gear? Is that my mouse? It seems like it's Stormworks that does this. So like I play, well, I do get issues in Tarkov every once in a while, but it's a brand new mouse. It's just, it could be me just not hitting it hard enough too. Alright, so that is geared up, so the fan has its own gear ratio. And then the actual propellers are gonna get their own, the lift props are gonna get their own gear ratio as well. So whatever that's gonna be. And then what we also want to do is we want to go into the generator. So you'll have hydraulic pumps and you have generators. So what I'm going to do is this is going to be my new test bed for using a bunch of the pressurization major update stuff to add things like simulated hydraulic systems. So that if an engine dies, you lose some hydraulic pressure. Simulated pneumatic systems, because a lot of systems on airplanes are pneumatic. And so what we need is we need pneumatic production on this, and we also need to have hydraulics. So I'm going to have to plumb a lot of plumbing in here, so we got to keep that in mind. I think what I'll do here is I put fuel there. Fuel, this can rotate back. That will go there. Right, merge you up there, guy. All right, that will do that. We'll come down here like so. All right, this will be our generator, one of the generators. I think I'm going to do just 2 generators. And so what we'll do is we'll do a clutch there, and then we will likely, do I gear this? Likely. We don't need a huge amount of electricity on this, so generally I run a small gen on either engine with no problem. That's generator there. We're also likely going to be doing impellers to pump hydraulic fluid for hydraulic test for hydraulic systems, and pneumatic systems will be pumping air as well. So what I'm probably going to do is try to do a realistic pneumatic system that actually moves the air from A to B for actually starting the engine. So the way the engine will start is based off of pneumatic pressure. And if your pneumatic pressure is not working right, you're not going to be able to start the engine. So got to think of that ahead of time as I start plumbing things up so I don't cut in the spaces I need. All right, so the rear pipe here is going to be for the prop here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start cutting that in. Now what I might do is this. Let's cut you down. Like that. Okay, let's trim you. Shit. We're going to have symmetry problems if I don't move this by itself. Alright. And then let's go ahead. Let's put symmetry on. Alright, and let's grab another prop. I think I'm going to want dual props on this. So rotor and light, like so. And then got a couple options here. So generally the way that we're going to roll is via collective. So the starboard side is going to go down, the port side is going to go up. Pitch is going to be responsible for yaw. Pitch is going to also be responsible for pitch. Roll is irrelevant. So I'm trying to think pitch, collective. That would make collective backwards. If I put this vertical, the roll I don't give a shit about. So what we're going to do is going to make sure this is like this. I'm going to do U to flip it. So these are counter-rotating. And then I need to look at them. So the roll is different. The pitch should be the same. Yeah. And the collective will be the same doing that. All right, so we'll do that. Let's make it 6 bangers. Let's go neutrals, and let's keep them at their current size. All right, so that's in the nacelles. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go across with a... let's go white on that. Let's go across the block. All right, let's grab a angle pipe. Come on, dude. All right, so actually I'm going to end up cutting across here because you want to interlink your engines in a system like this. That's what the Osprey does, is you interlink your system so that if you lose an engine, you don't lose one of your lift fans, because that is a guaranteed fatal crash, pretty much, unless you're really close to the ground. By interlinking them, you might still crash, but you'll crash a hell of a lot slower and softer, and that is desirable behavior, as you can imagine, to crash a little bit more softly. All right, so that is going to be the linkage there. And then I do need to, this will balloon out just a hair. It's not a big deal. That will cut there. All right, you will go like that. You will go like that. And then I'll probably just do this. Good, and then we'll probably just go like this. So that's going to be how that links up to the shaft drive on this. All right, so that is it right there. If I can frickin' see, I've got a bunch of fuel, like copious amounts of fuel in the wing here. So I'm gonna have to play with the fuel in the wing and where it can go and where it can't go. But that's fine. We can play with that later. All right, good. So that is got to be close. Yep, that's literally right off of where this needs to be. So that's good. And I can put a gearbox in here. So likely what I'm going to do is we'll see. Can I cut you? I probably shouldn't. Let's cut that. Okay, right there we can cut. That's going to get a gearbox, which will face toward the power source. Then we'll just go ahead and I'll grab that. All right, then I can put a second gearbox. Likely, I'm going to say if need be, but likely I am going to put a second gearbox. What are you? Okay, you are necessary. You're the 1x2. Okay. So that's there. That goes like that. That goes like that. All right, good. So that is all linked up. So that is the drive system there. And then this is all fuel from the wing. And this, so actually I can cut you. Make you a... everything that's white is going to get turned into black anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That there is going to be... oh my god. See if I can get in the wing again. Not have problems all day here. Right there. Alright, that's where we want to be. Alright, so I'm doing these wedges. That just gives me more fuel capacity. Alright, good. So that is starting to fuel up the wing there. And I'll probably do interlinks through the nacelles for the fuel itself. So, all right, so that there is plumbing done to run the engines. All right, good. And since it's center line, that makes it so that the engines will work on either side fine. Let's go ahead and what else do I want to work on in this turbine before I let loose? This needs its spike here. All right, so that has generator, front fan, because with this craft you're gonna hover, so you don't want any thrust pushing you forward unless you're ready to go forward. The generator, front fan, also has propellers. I'm going to clutch the propellers likely, so I have to actually screw with that for a second. Yeah, I'm going to likely have to screw with that. Let's see. Give me some peace here. There we go. All right, right there. Oh, stop. There's a bunch of places I can put gearboxes if I need. Alright, let's do that. I'll be able to clutch that in. And then I have plenty of accessory spots here for hydraulics and pneumatics. We have a ton of room in this nacelle, so we're good there. Let's go ahead and we'll start plugging things in. I don't think I need anything off this engine. Let's just, for shits and giggles, let's look at this. What are you? You are going to be the fan. So the fan clutch here is, that's fine. And then I need to find the fan gear ratio. That's likely this gear ratio here. So that's a 5.2. We're going to have to redo the gear ratios anyway, so there's no point in me even looking at them. All right, that's all gone. That's gone. That's gone. I do not want to cut my electrical things. Those are generators. Up gens. I don't know if I had 2 gens. I'll have to see. If I had 4 generators total, I doubt it. I'm going to check in the cockpit and see if I had 4 generators or 2. I think I had 2 generators. That's probably going to run. Modern jets, you're usually running extra generators. On the 145, we had 2 per engine and then 1 in the APU, so we had 5 total. I'm thinking I'm running 2. Yeah, I'm just running 2 gens on that. 1 per engine, and then the APU as it's pretty much automatically generates when it comes on. Okay. So fans are pretty much in where they need to be. They're plumbed. Let's go ahead. I don't want to duplicate this engine yet, I don't think, until I get the... Let's put the accessory system in. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put the accessory system in. Because until I do that... Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put the accessory system in. So this will do hydraulic pumps and pneumatic pumps. Now, you don't pump pneumatics in a turbine. The compressor section makes air pressure, and you just take bleed air off of it. But we can't do that, so I have to pump it. So, got to pump it up. I must pump it up. So I want to get these engines mostly finished so that I can duplicate it and put it on the other side. All right, so one of these is going to be hydraulics, one of these is going to be pneumatics. So what we'll do is we'll take a tank. So let's see, this here will be hydraulics, likely. Make this one hydraulics if I can see anything. That won't be hydraulics, so let's see, which one's the out? That's fluid in right there. All right, so this is the out here. So this is going to be 0 diesel, and this one's going to be Vin Diesel. All right, and then this one's 0 diesel, this one's going to be diesel. This is going to be my hydraulic system. So essentially what's going to happen is the fluid is going to come from the full tank, and it's going to be pressurized and pushed into this tank. That's going to simulate hydraulic pressure. So when the impeller is on, which I need a clutch, when the impeller is clutched in, it's going to pump hydraulic fluid, and then I can read the pressure in here because it's going to pump all the fluid out of here and stick it in this tank, and it's going to pressurize. As soon as it shuts it off, the fluid's going to backflow and the pressure is going to drop. Because, you know, if you double the volume, you half the pressure. So if we're at 60 atmospheres, and we then, you know, let's say at 60 atmospheres, if we double the volume, we go down to 30. And so by having the second tank here, it allows it to relieve. I actually have to put in clutches. I would love a smaller clutch block. That would be something I think would be great to see. Because these clutch blocks, you know, are too big as far as I'm concerned. Unnecessarily so. Because, like, the big reason why they do a lot of that stuff is they need the certain number of nodes. So it needs to be as wide as the nodes are. And it only has one node on a clutch. Well, it does have electricity too, right? Yeah, well, no, see, they're on the same side, so that shouldn't affect it. So we should be able to have 1x1 clutches, which would be nice. Because, like, a lot of these systems, I don't think the devs think of some of these things, that, like, people are going to be as complicated as I do with systems. Right, so we have the small tank, yeah. Right, and then we have one here. Make sure that's the in. Okay. Alright, so you are going to be full of diesel. You are going to have no diesel. Hydraulic. Hydraulic. Alright. And then down here, we're We're gonna run the same dilly. Yeah, we could run compressed air tanks. I think I'm just gonna do these tanks. So what I think we'll do is we'll do an intake. So we'll do a fluid port. And then we'll take a tank. I use these because they're double-sided. And this is going to be pneumatics. Pneumatics. All right, and so what we're going to hopefully do, if I have space, is I'm going to plumb pneumatic lines. I should put pneumatics on the top. It does not matter. It would have been better if I put it up top. Shit, we're running out of space. Yeah, if that's on top, I can actually make it work. So, oh, no, it's still in the way. Oh, you devil. All right, I'm gonna have to change the hydraulics and the pneumatics up. You son of a bitch. All right, that's not a big deal. That's gonna be... shit. Stand by. I've got to take a hacksaw to some of this. Oh, stop. So that will do that. Let's go. Put there. I'm gonna actually pass this through, and we're actually gonna make the pneumatic system do something. So, if I can find where I am in the build, we'd be in great shape here. We got one node there. We do okay, shiza. And I've got vertical space here. All right. So next thing we're gonna do is take a pressure gauge. I could probably actually do the same thing down in hydraulics. I could take out the second tank, but we'll run it like this for now. And then, so what this is gonna do is we're gonna be able to pump air into the piping, and this pressure gauge will read that, and then it will be valved. These are one-ways, but you can usually force some air through them, so we'll run that. So what's going to happen is, like, say, for example, we'll start up the APU. The APU will likely be in the hump, or it will be in the tail. Probably the hump, just for, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, the tail's looking a little thin. We'll probably put it in the hump. Hump's got a little bit of space. Not a ton, but hump's got a little bit of space. And so the APU will either be in the hump or in the hip. And what will happen is the APU will have it'll be diesel. It will have an engine-driven pump on it. And so as the engine-driven pump goes, it's going to pump air, and it's going to put it into the piping system. There'll be a pressure gauge, like I just put in, on this nacelle, on that nacelle, and then there'll be the pump on the APU, and that will also have a pressure gauge. And so what will happen is, let's say you want to start engine number 1. You have to fire up the APU. That is electrically started. That's how most of them do it. They have electric starters on them. You'll start the APU. You'll then open up the bleed valve. That will be an actual physical valve in the airplane, and that will allow the air pressure from the APU to go through the pipes. You'll also open up the valve. So when you do start the engine, it will open up the valve on the engine. When the pressure gauge south of the valve on engine number 1 reads a certain pressure, let's say 60 atmospheres, it will then allow it. So the two conditions for you to start the engine are going to be that you're pushing the engine start button and that you have enough pressure, air pressure. And so once you have enough air pressure, it will then allow the engine to start. And so the engine will start. When the engine starts, you'll go ahead and you will you have bleed valves on the engine, same thing. And so let's say now I want to start engine 2 with engine 1. So what you'll do is you will open the bleed valve off of engine 1 and open the bleed valve on engine 2. And now what you'll be doing is you'll be blowing air pressure from engine 1 to engine 2. And then you can use that air to start engine 2. Generally, you'd use the APU to start both, but you know, we can do a cross-bleed start like this. So that's a realistic system. That's how we used to have to do it. We had a couple times when the APU was out, we have to do cross-bleed starts, and so that will allow for the system. So some cool systems, again, that the pressurization major update that some people want to just throw away for no apparent reason because they don't want to spend the 5 minutes to learn the mechanics. It gives us some cool things we can do. That's why I get annoyed when they want to just throw it out. There's a lot of cool shit you can do with it and add some really realistic cool systems, and you know, because they don't want to just take the little bit of time to learn the systems, they want to throw it all out, and it just aggravates me because like a lot of these cool things we used to never be able to do, now we can, which is the height of an engineering game, is adding more cool engineering things we can do. And for the tiny little bit of learning people need to do to not, you know, to be able to operate, you know, they'd rather just throw it all out and complain than to like put a fuel valve on things, or a fuel vent on things, which takes you like all of 3 seconds, you know, legitimately 3 seconds, and they get all pissy with that. It's like, that's why it aggravates me physically, and why I just talk about it all the time, is it's like they literally want to throw out cool mechanics because they can't be bothered to learn them, and I find that to be frustrating. I'm going to probably change up some of these spikes. I'm just trying to take some of the curse off the paint here. Alright, so let's see. Oh, fuck, I don't have symmetry on it. Oh, you suck. I'm gonna redo a bunch of that anyway. I've got the fan sitting down in the center section now, so I can actually clean this shit up anyway. Let's do that while I'm here. But yeah, that's why it actively annoys me when people are just like, wish they just roll back before the pressurization update, because they don't know it, and so instead of just learning it, they just want to throw it out. And I think it's the silliest shit. It's like, it was a lot of work on the devs' part. It adds a lot of cool gameplay and a lot of possibilities, but those particular people don't have much vision, so instead of just like taking the seconds it would take them to learn the new mechanics, they blame the game for their own ignorance of those mechanics, and then they just want to throw out cool features, which takes away from other parts of the player base who are enjoying the new mechanics. And I think that's silly. You know, and then it would break all of our builds because they decided that, boo-hoo, I can't learn how to put a fuel vent on, which, you know, I've made tutorials on. Just go watch a tutorial. You know, so that's why it actively frustrates me, is it's just, you know, it's reductive thinking that I'm not a huge fan of. All right, let's go ahead. Rasmus, we'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Rutan had some cool designs on his build, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like, you know, they just, you know, a lot of people would disregard people with actual experience in the field over their own little internet learning, and I think it's the silliest shit. It's just like, you know, like there is, you know, of course, like the game is different than real life, but you know, you can take some of these things from real life and make them work, and it's like, I love it when somebody's like, oh, you can't do that, that's not going to work, and then it's like, oh, really? And that's like, I take it as a challenge, and that actively increases the fun for me. Like when I did, it was SRS's tugboat challenge, like people were like, oh, you're not going to be able to do azipods, it will flip over. And it's like, you know, you might not be able to do azipods, but I can. And it's like, it's that attitude I hate, because it's like, you know, you never innovate. You never try things. You just assume they're broken because somebody on Reddit said that, well, Steam's broken. And it's like, if you just like try it, or like, you know, look at some people who are actually accomplishing these things, you'd realize that it's definitely possible, you know. This section here I might still change up, but I'm just kind of loading in a little bit. Alright, so this turbine I think is set up. So with this being set up now, let's go ahead and we'll delete out the other turbine. And we'll put in this one. I think we're good, hopefully, on that. What is that? Okay, that needs to not be cut out, so let's go. You know, I love the pressurization major update. It's one of my favorite major updates because it adds the ability to engineer a lot of cool things, and that I think is where the game. That's what the purpose of the game is. You know, is to engineer some cool shit. And you know, people wanting to just, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater because they can't be bothered to like put a fuel port and a gas relief valve on their fuel tank, you know, is pretty silly to me. It's like, it's all of like 5 minutes of changes on your build, and now you can have all these cool things, and they just want to like, no, you know. And it's very much that gatekeeping is, if I don't want to do it, then nobody should do it, which is silly. You know, it's, you know, if it doesn't service me, then, you know, it doesn't service anybody, and it's like, that's silly. It's like, for example, it would be like me saying, we should take out all the monsters out of the game because I don't use them. I never use any of the monsters, but should they come out of the game? No. There's something that parts of the community wanted. That part of the community enjoys using them. You know, great. It doesn't pick my pocket. I have an option to shut them off. That's why I think a checkbox is always a good policy, is you can always just shut it off. Shut it off if you don't like it. You know, and those people tend to just be like, oh, if it's not something I use, then then it shouldn't be there, and it's just, I think it's a silly attitude, it really is. Alright, so, what the fuck is this? How's this off? What's going on? Oh, clutch? I missed the clutch on that. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I just missed the clutch because the way I had the cut, it was mid-clutch, so that's fine. Clutch is just missing. That was it. Yeah, so for a lot of that, it just shows a lack of maturity in understanding that different people want different things, and their playstyle is just as valid as yours, you know? Yeah, those new engines look beef cannon. That fell out. Let's get this sitting on its legs as well. I gotta fix that fan that fell. Take it off the jack stands. Oh, stop. Press the wrong button. Alright, so good. Those wheels can go back a little bit further. Those wheels are going to get redone. They're going to get bigger wheels. They're going to get bigger nacelles. I might just grab wheels off of something else. We'll have to see. But, so essentially, like, you need a certain angle of attack on your wings to be able to take off. And so part of doing the design work, understanding the relationship between where your wheels should go and the angle of attack, like that's likely more than enough angle of attack. The wheels, if the wheels go back further, we will increase our angle of attack even more before we hit the tail. So you need to worry about tail strike. So those wheels will end up going back. I'm just trying to get this thing up and running. I want to get a flight test out of it. So it's likely going to get a big belly fuel tank that integrates in with those hips, like I've done in a bunch of the other builds. We're not there yet. Let's see. That's all the same, right? So let's go ahead, and I should be able to cut all this and move it. I am going to put new hips on here with new landing gear, but I don't need to do it yet, and so I really want to get this flight tested Because that's kind of the make or break, is getting some of that going, make sure it's going to run, make sure the engines are going to be powerful enough. These are all important things. So let's paste that again. Let's come back and let's go to the nacelle. Let's say we want to cut at 6. Never do an even number. Cut, clear. Right. And then we'll get bigger wheels. Make it look more proportional. So now as these wheels slide aftward, the you know, you run your angle. This is your new pivot point here on rotation. So now the you know, as you change, we can do the triangle math, but to figure out the angle, you know, when this is going to hit, the closer we get, the more general rotation we can have, and then the greater the angle of attack we can have on the wing. And at a certain angle of attack, that is at a certain speed, at a certain angle of attack, that's when we're going to lift off. So you essentially need to design it so that, you know, you lift off before you hit your tail, or else you get tail strikes. And there was a cool thing at the American Airlines training facility where they it was a pole with horseshoes on it, and the horseshoes showed where your tail would be on rotation for each particular airplane. So it's kind of cool. Now, this is what a lot of new players struggle with too, is they end up putting their wheels all the way to the back, and it's like, again, if you look at real airplanes, they don't do that for good reason, is putting the wheels all the way back, it's way far behind your center of gravity. You're going to rotate at your center of gravity, and so you're trying to just push the rear wheels into the ground the whole time, and so you're never going to pick the nose up. You want to have it like a seesaw, so the wheels should be around the fulcrum, and then it will easily balance. That's what you want. All right, let's start plumbing up some of these systems. I want to get a flight test out of this. So let's go. All right, these are all fuel systems in here and micros. Let's go ahead and I don't think we need anything here. We don't. Let's cut that shit there. This is cross feed. So cross feed feeds from one tank to the other. That will go in the hips. This is all cross feed back here. This is actually cross feed here. This is inflow on the fuel. Yep, so that's coming from the belly tank. Let's try to get this belly tank in. Let's actually put that back, and let's go try to get all this in there. The problem becomes that, oh shit, fuck off. Gotta always do that where I put in the wrong spot, you dickhead. Oh, that's annoying. Alright, there we go. Alright, I gotta deal with some stuff here. So one of the things is, this kind of annoying thing with the game is the grippers here are too tall. They're 1-2 blocks tall. And that makes things kind of obnoxious, because you have to have a tube floor, and then that makes it hard to integrate around. You have to go around these or cut a hole through them. That's kind of obnoxious, frankly. But what we're going to do is we're going to be able to go underneath here even more, so. Trying to decide what I want to do with these nacelles. Let's just strap a bunch of this shit on there. Need to strap microcontrollers on. Let's start plumbing up micros here. That is AGL for the gear. That is uplocks. We're not going to raise our gear right now. That's ITTs. We don't inlet turbine temperature. We don't care about that right now. APU diesel. We're not going to run the APU diesel right now. Number 2 fuel. APU air. Clutch. I don't know. That's for the APU. This looks like all APU systems. These must be my engines. So, like, one thing I try to do now is that I do, you know, what? Get turbine controller. Do I not have 2 of these? That's a mistake to do that. The best thing to do is have one for each engine and have them talk between each other instead of having one that's a 2-engine controller. Let's see what I have here. Yeah, I have this one panel. It's not a wise idea to do, but I did it probably for space. Number 1 RPS. So what we care about is turbine RPS pretty much. Number 1 thrust. I assume that is number 2 thrust. Fan clutch. Alright, so fan... Okay. Alright, so fan clutch must be the same on both because the they're going to be interlinked anyway. So I gotta figure out which one's fan clutch. I think it's this one. Nope, that's definitely not that one. It's this one. That's fan clutch right there. This one is interlink clutch. I need to make interlink clutch number 1. Starter number 1. Right there. Starter number 2. Let's do that. Number 2 RPS. Number 2 N1. N1 is your fan section. So I'm trying to think how the hell. So I gotta be running that off of the. Let me see. Again, the RPS gauge is huge too. So let's go here. So the N1. That's not gonna read N1 correctly if I do this because it won't be fanned in. Stop. Fucking stop. Clicking random buttons. Annoying me. Let's see. I don't have the interlink set up yet. Let's see. N1. How the hell am I reading N1? I can read N2 off the compressor section RPS. I can't read N1. Why am I not reading N2 is the question. Oh, I think I'm doing a conversion. So we'll read the RPS off of that. Okay. Number 1 thrust is going to go there. Number 2 thrust is going to go there. Interlinks I don't have set up yet. Posits, these should be plumbed. Alright. Alright, this is P-roll. Desired altitude, compass. This has to be redone to the physics sensor. VTOL controller, linear speed. Alright, let's put a physics sensor in here. I've got to convert these anyway. Let's do it now. Alright, CG. So the CG is probably going to change a little bit, but not a ton. Okay. Let's go in the VTOL control and convert this over to physics sensor. Alright, physics sensor right there. Alright, linear speed should be 9. That's the wrong one. Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Alright, that's 9 off the physics sensor. That goes there. See ya. Alright, so the way this VTOL controller works is pretty easy. It's essentially a twin rotor system. So take the gyro pitch, you take the gyro yaw, you're adding yaw to pitch, so that when you yaw, you want, let's say we want to go to the right, we want the port blades to go forward, we want the starboard blades to go back. That's going to cause the left side to go forward, the right side to go back, you yaw to the right. Pitch is pitch. So you want to pitch forward. You want both of them to go forward. It's going to pitch the whole plane forward. So that's the differentiation between yaw and pitch. Roll is done with collective. So you have the collective to go up and down, right? And that's going to go port and starboard collective. And then what you do is you take the roll. Let's say we want to roll to the right. You want to increase the collective on the port side and decrease the collective on the starboard side, and vice versa. And so you're essentially adding those together. So they're just adds. And then I have multiplication for just essentially. It depends on how fast we're going. If we're going slow, I want to have the rotors control my pitch, roll, yaw. If we're going fast, I want my control surfaces to control my pitch, roll, yaw. So as we speed up, these are multiplied by a smaller and smaller number until they get to 0. And now the propellers don't do anything. They just sit there in the breeze because your control surfaces, you're flying like an airplane now. That's essentially what that's doing. Let's see. Autopilot I don't need to touch yet. Actually, I kind of do. Let's leave it alone. Yeah, I can't leave it alone. Shit. Let's go in here. Converting autopilot over is a pain in the balls, Zach. I can go physics sensor. I put the physics sensor there. Let's see. Maybe I converted already. That would be a blessing. Physics sensor there. What are you going to? Channel 17 is compass. Okay. Do I have a second compass? I do. Let's see if I can get rid of it. I think I already started a conversion process. Gorgeous. See a compass. All right. Bunch of these that we're taking out. The physics sensor, fantastic update. Like linear speed right here. We don't need linear speed anymore. It comes off of channel 9. So we're going to read channel 9. It really shrinks the panels by a lot. Like you can see, we've already, with that physics sensor, I've already deleted 2 nodes. Just with that. Altimeter, so there's 3 nodes gone. Linear speed, see ya. That's gone. Next thing we're going to get rid of is... That goes there. Let's see. What else can we get rid of? I just saw it, too. So we have altimeter. Altimeter is a goner too. So altimeter is another one we can get rid of because of the physics sensor update. So let's go ahead. What is altimeter off the top of my head? Let me look. I think it's 8. Alright, let's look at it. So like altimeter's gone, altimeter's gone, GPS is gone, all the tilts, pitch, roll, all that's integrated. This is a huge update. Alright, so it's going to be position what is that really? Altimeter's 2, right? Altimeter must be 2 now, I think. No, I can't remember which one. I think it's 2. I'll have to double check altimeter. Oh, fuck, I pressed the wrong button again. Let's save this. I got to check something and see. I think Chickadee, I think, is all set up for that. I think the new helicopter is set up for that too. Check the new helicopter, see what altimeter is. I think altimeter is 2. Where are you at, altimeter? Yeah, 2. Channel 2 right here. Yep, channel 2 is the altimeter. So, like, physics sensor was a fantastic update for that. Alright, let's see, right there. Alright, altimeter. So the altimeter's gone. Like, you can see how quickly we're shrinking panels because of this physics sensor. Let's see, roll tilt. Roll tilt's gone too. That's gonna go. P-roll, it needs to stay there. So there's another one that's going as roll tilt. Check chat here in a second. Hello, Anton. How are you? How's it going? There's always a good rant. Yep, VTOL. And how's it going there, Owl? Yep. I think quite often, like, you know, a lot of the places get filled with the people who just want to complain about different mechanics of the game, and those of us who are enjoying it or understand why things are the way they are tend to just be quiet and play the game. And the problem with that, you know, it's understandable, but the problem with that becomes, you know, you end up with a situation where those loud people seem as though they are somehow the meat of the group, and it's not true, you know. And it's so the fear being that they'll get their way, and you know, because they whined so hard, they get to, you know, remove a part of the game that was, you know, pretty good. All right, let's go. So generally here, roll tilt, it's backwards on the physics sensor than it used to be, so you need to come in and go right there. Okay, and then so roll tilt is out. So like, you see how many different nodes I'm able to delete because of the physics sensor? It's fantastic. You know, that really helps things out. The ability to delete all these nodes, because each of these nodes is just on one microcontroller, and all those nodes can be deleted. That is fantastic, because it's just trimming and trimming and trimming, and it makes the microcontroller smaller, which is a valid complaint of, you know, there's just too many microcontrollers, or there's too many nodes in the microcontrollers are too big. Now you can trim these things up, and now you can see how much I've already shrunk this microcontroller. And then you start, oh Jesus Christ, this is backwards. You know, that's just one microcontroller. So in a build, you might be able to shrink, like I've had builds where I've shrunk 30 nodes, like taken 30 nodes and deleted them off because I don't need them anymore because of the physics sensor. And you can see how like that really is helpful, especially if it's a small build, to get the space in there, you know. This cat needs to be played like a drum. Put his picture up here. He's sitting with me now. So that's why I get passionate about those issues, is it's just, unfortunately, you have these people who just want to shit on the game and take things away from other people, and it's, I think it's silly. Like, if it was a super duper difficult thing to do, I get it, but it isn't most of the time. It's usually pretty simple, and they just don't want to learn. Or oftentimes they don't even play themselves, or they don't even build themselves. They just download something in the workshop, and so they have to wait until somebody fixes their build because they can't be bothered to do it themselves or learn. So, seats. Seats. So I often do a seat combiner. That's this right here. So this is really simple to combine the seats. This is what I do. I come in here, all the ones, the twos, all 1 through 6, essentially, they become all ors, they're pushes. If I'm going to do something like variable brakes, I, you know, do ors there. So here's the first officer, here's the captain's seat, and then they just get all combined so that you can fly from either seat. And then, so anywhere where seat is hooked up, like it says on the autopilot seat, you just put in the seat combiner, and then you can fly from either seat. So that's nice. Nice. What is this? That is artificial horizon physics sensor. Where the friggin' hell are you, guy? There you are. All right. Ramp. That's a ramp. That's panel. Ground surfaces panel. Harnesses. We probably won't have harnesses on here. All right. That's all APU stuff. I'm just trying to get us going here? AP pass-through goes from the autopilot, passes through. Bearing micro out, monitor touch. Radio receiver, physics sensor, right there. All right. So again, physics sensor takes care of the GPS nodes. So let's fix up some of this bearing panel here. So like GPS X and Y can now be replaced. So like if we come in here, let's look at the physics sensor first. So if we look, we have should be position 1-3 will give you your GPS coordinates. Is that right? I'm trying to think if it's a Euler. I think that's yeah. I'm gonna double check with the helicopter. Helicopter's up to date, so all it really is saving me here going back to check builds is I would just do a test. And so now instead of me having to do a test, I can just go look. So like if we go to the that's not the bearing panel, that's the bearing panel. So here's the bearing panel. If you look, we have physics sensor right here. That's 1 and 3. Yep, 1 and 3. Okay. What I might do, let me see. Do I pull this? Oh, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. That orange helicopter is more up to date. This bearing panel's probably more up to date. I'm not gonna screw with it right now. I'd rather go back after we have a working build and retrofit and put in better bearing panels once I know we're good to go than to screw with it now, because this bearing panel's out of control size-wise. Alright, so whereas GPS X is now 1, GPS Y, ooh, X is going somewhere else too, right? X is going there. That goes, so like this right here kills 2 nodes, which is beauteous. That goes there. That goes there. That can go like that. Alright, so then like this, you can see like just the live shrinking of this stuff is just really good. Compass is another one. So 17 is compass. Again, I start memorizing these because I just use them so often. That's why sometimes it's good to break up your panels and go back and play with your panels again, because you know, the more you do it, the more you remember little things that will save you time. So it's better actually sometimes to go back and rebuild stuff because you start to remember the nodes. All right, good. So let's, do I really want to reconnect all these? No, I'll do it. I'll do it. This is another one that drives me nuts, is having these panels not be clean. Panels aren't clean, it drives me batty. Drives me batty. Like, you can see how much we were able to shrink. 1, 2, 4. Yeah, it's a considerable amount of shrinking by having that physics sensor on this. Do I have radio in there? Let me see. Radio Freak. Radio Freak right there, okay. And then, good. We have good stuff there. All right, good. What do you, sir? Radio receiver. All right. I don't know why that's... Oh, yeah, never mind. I know what that's about. Okay. That's a considerable amount of shrinking. AP pass-through goes back to autopilot. Monitor touch goes to the bearing monitor right there. Bearing micro. Okay, that's going in, then this goes out, back to there. Physics sensor. Radio receiver, that's just a radio antenna. We can plug that in later, that's fine. That's bearing 2, I don't need right now. Radio Freak goes out to the antenna, I don't need that. FLIR FOV, I don't need. Keypad Y, and I need keypad X. So So that's for entering in the desired GPS coordinates you want to go to. That's FLIR. We don't need that, so that's plugged back in. Again, stock gyro. Using stock gyro on everything. Every one of my aircraft is a stock gyro. It's like, you'll see people say the stock gyro is useless. Like, it's fine if you say you don't like it, but people say it's useless. It just isn't. I use it on every one of my airplanes. The problem, again, is for obvious reasons, a lot of people have no airplane experience. And then they blame the game for their lack of airplane experience. And so it's got to be the game. It can't be me. And, you know, once they realize how to build an airplane properly, you'll find that, you know, you can make it work with a regular standard, the standard gyro. It works fine. You know. What are you widthwise there, guy? 13. That should fit. All right. How, dude? How did we miss that? Really, dude. Amazing sometimes. Always, like, literally every time I try to do one of these, I cannot get one through without missing something. It gets old. That big set of weight blocks has to go, too. I'll just, you're one off, aren't you? Yep, you're one off. So, nice size build. We have plenty of space. So let's get rid of this brick here. See where CG is now. That, hopefully we don't sit on our tail. This here I will just nix. We don't need that for now. That's, I already have the lights installed, so they just need to be plugged in. This is all ramp controls. I'm gonna do a custom ramp controller. Screw it. We'll deal with that later. Why make it easy when I can make it hard? What are you, sir, madam? You are lights. You are seat combiner. That. Cut you there, signore. Alright, trying to get in the air here. That's what I want to do. Alright, that is... See ya. I'll do that manually later. I kind of need you to do my flight test. You'd straighten up and fly right. We'll be in good shape here, guy. And then these are all electrical. So I will just start plugging and plumbing these. What are you? Let's figure them out first. All right, what are you going to? You are going to... That is number 2 battery. So this is the battery on the number 2 engine. So let's put that... Let's just install these in the right place instead of dicking around. Taking time we don't need to. Let's see, where can this go in the cell? It's kind of out of the way. We're going to have to... Probably expose it a little bit. It's not the end of the world because I need the piping there. So let's go. So again, I run small batteries on most of my stuff. I don't need huge batteries generally. Just don't need it. You know, as long as your power generation is matching your power utilization, you don't need big stuff. You just don't. You can run small stuff and be fine. So we'll grab a small battery. I cut the other one, so I'm gonna get that back. All right, electricity. Of course, I flipped it. All right, so that plugs the battery in. This allows us to isolate our batteries, which is something we wish to do. Where did I put that? I put that on right side. So this should go on the right side for duplication purposes. So the big questions that still are kind of sitting here is this enough power? Are we going to make enough power to lift something of this size? Probably. The answer is probably it's fine. What are you? You, sir, madam, are not plugged in, which is not helpful to me. So we should have generator 1 and 2. We should have batteries 1 and 2. We should have master power. This should probably master right here. Those are probably one of the generators. I deleted the generators. That didn't do it. Main bus right here. That's what that is. What are you, sir, madam? You are ground power. So this is the GPU. All right. So I'll go to the electrical panel here. Let's... This is the master breaker right there. So let's just put the master breaker in the middle for now. The hips are a good spot to hide a lot of the stuff too, so put them in the hips later if I need to. So GPU ground power unit is when you get power from a portable generator that they usually wheel out next to the airplane, or it's hooked to the gate. Usually you'll have a cable that comes off the gate, and that will actually power the airplane. And let's see. Go to the electrical panel and get the rest of these gens up and running. VTOL controller, I need to hook all this back up. Ground power. This is start. What? That's weird. What is start? Huh. Why do I have a start? Electrical. Okay, this is... Okay, fuck. I didn't label this for shit, did I? Gens. Okay, so I'm not running relays to the generators. I'm just running clutches to the generators. So number 1 generator is going to be here. So where this clutch is here that runs to the... What? Let me double check. I've got it connected to something already. Fan clutch. Oh, I accidentally remember I did that and didn't disconnect it. Right, so where are we at here? If I could find where I was. Right, number 1 generator. So what, this just works the clutch to give it, to pass through as much torque as necessary to generate as much power as necessary. So that goes there, and then this electricity here is going to go to likely battery side of the bus. So right there, battery side of the bus. Battery side of the bus. And then we will go to this, if I can find the frickin' thing, the clutch right there. This is the number 2 generator right here. We're at number 2 generator. Number 2 generator. And then we have, I don't know what this clutch is about here, so I gotta figure out what the hell that's all about. That's when I label things poorly, we get this problem. Clutch. Okay, this is the APU clutch. So this should be labeled APU clutch, not clutch, because that's useless to me. APU clutch. We don't have an APU on here right now. The problem I'm going to have is I need to have an APU in there to be able to start the engines. I'm going to change up the system. I'm just trying to get this where I can fly. Gas rocket engine. What do you mean a gas rocket engine in your jet engines? No. Yeah, it doesn't matter with acceleration up and down. I understand how to move around in the editor. What was I doing before I got distracted again? Let's see. Let's go back to what I was doing. You know, like that does nothing for me. That is mouse acceleration going on there with the camera. You can hold control and do it, but I'm just trying to move the camera, so I'm not slamming control the whole time. Number 2, bat. Right here. Number 1, diesel fuel. What the hell is number 1 bat? Okay, number 1 bat's plugged in. I had number 1 bat already. Stabilize pitch. Alright, let's start hooking up some of this stuff. Alright, pitch to gyro. Of course, the last one. Yaw to gyro. Collective to gyro. Roll to gyro. Desired heading. Gonna come off of. Why is this double? What? Why am I doing it here? What the fuck? Let me see what this is doing. What am I in? What am I touching here? Desired altitude should be off of. Okay, okay, these are fine. Altitude and heading. All right, they just got disconnected. That's why. All right. Confusion. All right, there we go. That is starboard collective. All right, now I have to look at these and fix these rotors finally. Let's go neutral. Let's go 6 bloods on those. All right, so collective should be the same. All right, collective can be the same. That's okay. That's why I flipped them. So they should be all the same. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Starboard collective needs to go on both. Yeah. So they should all be the same. That's why I lined them the way I did. Port collective. Port roll. Why am I running roll on these? I'm not side strafing. I don't know why I'm running roll on these. Yeah, I should be running collective, so that's strange. Oh, you know what I bet it is? I don't know. Port pitch. I don't know why I'd be running roll on those. Starboard pitch. I gotta look at the roll, why that roll's in there. Doesn't make sense. Port roll, what the fuck is that about? Starboard roll, port roll. Gyro roll, okay. I thought I was running them off collective, I guess I'm not. Interesting. This could be interesting. I gotta screw with this then. Alright, let me double check them, make sure they're facing the right direction. Because I didn't think at first I was running that. I thought I was doing roll with collective. I guess I'm not. Let's see. You then need to be flipped in the bottom along that axis. Yeah, I want to run them. No, let's just run the tops for roll. Let's just run the tops for roll. Where is it? Port roll right there. Alright, so that's done. RPS. I wish I'd labeled that better. Let's see. What's the RPS doing? If RPS is greater than 2, prop clutches. Okay. Space in here. Alright, again, I want to get a test flight out of this, so we'll keep it simple for now, and I'll complicate the system a little bit later. Linear speed needs to be replaced. don't know why the seat controller's in here. Okay. Yeah, so linear speed's out of there. What am I missing? Prop clutches. So let's just we'll do dual prop clutches for the moment. That should be these two. They're going to be interlinked anyway. Alright, need control surfaces, so likely I'm running, let's see, AP. Going to there, then we want to do stabilized roll. I'll do a test off these. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're running off the other panels here, so I gotta take these out. The problem is I want this anti-flap system. Let's go with my flap controller in there. That's alright. We'll screw with that later. Yeah, I just want to flight. So stabilized roll. Work on the flaps later. Flap controller's here. I just need to take a blowtorch to it. Yaw. Okay. Collective, I don't need pitch. I need. Let's go sit in the cockpit and see what works. Infant electricity's on. All right. Thinking about sitting right. All right. Yeah. Thinking about it. There we go. All right. I'm missing a big connection there. So likely this. Seats combined got disconnected again. That's why we have problems there. Seat. That'll do it. All right, seat there. What is this? Bearing panel. I thought I plugged you in already. I guarantee I did. Panel, electric fuel panel. How do you get disconnected from the panel? All right. APU on. That's electrical panel there. That's great that all this shit's disconnected for some reason. This is, yeah, I don't know why that got disconnected. Panel for the jet turbine controller. Well, let's see, where's our start panels here? So... start the turbines. Let's ramp on RGB lights, ground surface panel. We'll see what happens with. Might not be able to start this without an APU on board. Quickly check that. Jet turbine controller. That's probably fuel valve right there. So if 10 is on and that is less than... Okay, so I think they'll start without the APU on. I don't think I put that pneumatic system in yet, which is good. New harnesses, I can ignore that again. RGB lights, we can do that later. Ramp, pivot, we'll ignore. What are you? APU clutch, we don't need to worry about that. All right, let's try, see where we're at here. So that now hooks the seat up. That's why I couldn't move the control surfaces, was the composite connection. All right, so pitch, I need a flip port. Okay, flip port. And then ailerons are correct. Yaw is correct. So flip port pitch, right. That should give us the correct controls. Pitch is correct. Roll is correct. Yaw is correct. All right, good. Not going to get an APU, so I have to just try starting without it. All right, we're good. That's a good sign. There's no fuel in here, but I'm going to end up just pushing... we'll do infinite fuel for now. I want to get a start before I have to go through the fuel system, because I've got the fuel system pretty complicated, so I want to get everything going here first. Because I'm going to do a whole new pneumatic start system. Yeah, I'm also in agreement. I'd rather make fewer VTOLs. The problem is I want to move containers. And so in order to move containers, I need a VTOL because they don't have any container ports at the fucking airports. So that drives me nuts. Like, I would love... So, like, FJ is great. I would love it if, like, they don't have to make a ton of them, but, like, for example, give us a... I would love a new container port at Tajin. Put containers right here so that we can fly an airplane from FJ to Tajin, and then we can go ahead and we can go, you know, we can either take via boat or helicopter. We could bring BVG to there if we wanted. Well, like, I want to do long-range logistics to here, so I need a friggin' VTOL. I'd really rather not do a VTOL, frankly, and I'd like to make a version of this without a VTOL, but I have to because of the game, you know. They just make everything end up needing to be a VTOL, and it kind of is annoying. But I don't have much choice to that, frankly, unfortunately. Alright, so there go those. I need to make some fixes. I just noticed one of them dicked up already. Come on, come scroll, you dickhead. I press F key, and half the time it doesn't work. Let's see. I gotta check these real quick. Neutral 6-blade, neutral 6-blade. Let's make sure these are good. Those should be good. Let me check real quick. Forward. That's good. Top one? Top one's good. Top one's all that matters for the roll. That's good. All right, neutral. All right, there we're good. They were good already. All right. But yeah, I'd like to do fewer VTOLs, but it's like they make the game, so it's like, you know, as part of what I was talking about, I'd like to see them do a new bunch of islands. Like, one thing I like to see them do, too, is a standardized cargo container, so we don't have to have enormous airplanes to be able to move any cargo. Like, a small cargo pallet, like, go from Endair to FJ would be a cool mission. Go from FJ to any of the other airports. I would love to see that. But unfortunately, like, a lot of the logistics in game, they've made it so that it's pretty much all dependent upon vertical takeoff aircraft, and I'll do a video at some point kind of talking about the logistics of how it would be cool to do that, because, you know, Delta has kind of poo-pooed my idea to do, on the last Q&A, of doing actual cargo missions. But, you know, and I understand that, you know, the part of the problem is, you know, somebody made Stormlink. Delta doesn't know that Stormlink doesn't work anymore. And so you end up with a situation where it sounds like a good idea. You know, the problem is, you know, once that person gives up on their... I didn't hook up the fan clutches. Once somebody gives up their, you know, doing that thing, then it doesn't get worked on anymore. And so that person has given up on making that mod, that add-on. And so now we don't have access to anything like that. Oh, Christ, not a cracker. Here, let's see. Fan clutch should go to both. That's what's the issue here. All right, that's fan clutch. Let's try something. Let's try a 6-to-1. Like, this is where it's going to take a lot of tuning work. So, like, what I'd like to see is, you know, I've shown before my pallets. This is going to get track segments to work the pallets as well. But, like, I have a pallet system, and my pallet system allows you to be able to... my pallet system allows you to be able to carry pallets in pretty small airplanes and transport them places. And I would love it if they would add... like, I don't think they need to do it necessarily. Like, one of their fears is, like, there's already a lot of containers sitting around everywhere that have to be rendered in-game, which makes it resource intensive, so people with potato PCs can't run it properly. And so the devs don't want to make it so that, you know, they have to either increase the minimum specs of the game or alienate people with potatoes. And so you end up with a situation where, you know, they don't want to add that stuff. And I get it. But you could do it with a mission where it pops up like, and the only time that that mission starts and actually puts resources, you know, uses up the game resources is when you, you know, when you accept the mission. When you go to that place and actually accept the mission. Why are the monitors not on? I gotta fuck with that now. Alright, let's try adding some fan in here. And you're fucking backwards, aren't you? Those are backwards. Okay. At least we know that now. So those need to flip. Fucking camera. I can't take the camera like that anymore. It just drives me nuts. So every time I go to move it, it does a mouse acceleration and it flicks it and it drives me nuts. It is just, I find it maddening, the camera. Like does this all the time. Every time I grab it, it's like when I grab it now and it doesn't do it. But like when I first grab it, it almost like mouse accelerates and pops up, and it's so aggravating. And I don't have to grab control every time I just touch my camera because I'm not even moving. Like, control's great for moving, but it's like I'm not even moving. I'm just like moving my camera, and like this is normal after you haven't touched. After you've touched it recently, it's fine. But then sometimes you get going and it goes like this, and it's like, what the Christ? Stop! So that's frustrating. So it's the bane of my existence. Yeah, this is the other problem with having a complicated starter procedure. It's not that bad right now in this, but it takes a little bit of time to test. Yeah, so personally, I would rather not do these VTOLs. I would rather do, like, that other VTOL jet start out as a regular jet, but it's like, where do I take that jet? What's the purpose? Like, I've done it before where I've taken a container from here up to here, but then I have to, like, do what I don't want to do, which is put a container on a helicopter to fly it over here. Like, I would love to go from FJ just to Tajin, unload the containers, and then drive them the short distance here to deliver them, pick up 2 new ones, go put them on the plane, and then get out of there and fly off. That would be great. And I think it's a minimal thing to do for the devs to add another container port here. I think that would be, so, you know, and I haven't asked them to do it yet. I haven't put out a video or anything, so, you know, there's no expectation they should do it until, you know, I can demonstrate. Fucking dog, man, get out of the way. Don't want to run you over. Dude, are you trying to get run over here? Come on, like, step 2 paces to the left. Come on, man. Now you're gonna just stand under there like a jackass, huh? Really not smart, man. He's gonna get hung up under there. You're gonna get hung up under there. Alright, let's try to take off vertically here. I don't have my monitor on, so I can't turn the hover mode on. I don't know what gear ratio I put those fans on. They might not be geared up enough. Okay, so they're trying to lift. They're just not geared up enough. I need to move the CG further forward, too. So that wing can move as well as necessary. So we got a little bit of an aft CG on there. Could move my wings back a hair. Because the center of gravity should be right in line with the center of thrust. So what I'll do, I think, here is let's just move the CG for now. And then when I figure out where see, let's do this. Let's, so I need to measure out containers. So the containers, we're talking 58. And I don't want them right up against each other. I probably want a 3 gap. So let's do a measure on that. So 63 is right there. So that's the container area. So center of the container area is going to be 28 plus 2, 29 plus 2 essentially. So that's where I want the CG is right here. All right. That's where the CG should be, right there. I think I already put the wings there. I can't see. Okay, right. I gotta do an outside block too. Right here. All right, so that's within a block. We're good if I do that. All right, that's within a block. This is where I want them right there. I can move the wings forward one if I need to, but I want to get the CG pretty much here. So for now, I'm just gonna put a brick in here. And then that will get weighted. It's going to end up going on the nose like the last one did, probably. That will drag the weight down a little bit. But again, there's a big thing with airplanes that you get new players who airplanes suck at stormworks. It's like, no, dude, you're just not building them like a real engineer would, which is it's enormous how important center of gravity is in airplanes. Is absolutely the most important thing. Like, we used to move passengers from the front of the plane to the back of the plane, you know, multiple times a day, because that's how important center of gravity for takeoff is you'd move a passenger to get the center of gravity, right? From the front of the plane to the back of the plane. That's how important it is. You know, they have to do it in large aircraft, they have to do it in small aircraft. It's part of what you have to do. It's pretty damn normal, you know, to do your CG calculations. You know, and then people act like it's strange because it's in the game. It's like, no, dude, that's actually how it really is. You have to do that shit. Let me fix the monitors, see why those aren't on. Hopefully they're just not on, and they're working. Could be, yeah, that's what it is. It's video connections. All right, could be video connections, and it is. Bearing, that's AP. That is bearing right there, and then they should turn on. They are. All right. Then touches, are touches connected? Bearing touch needs to hook up to bearing panel. Where is it? Where's the bearing panel? That's gear. That's bearing right here. Alright, monitor touch right there. Alright, that's good. Should be good on those, because I need that to turn on the auto hover. Which will, not necessarily necessary, but I need it. So, like, the first time when you saw me trying to, let's do gearing, fuck me. When you saw me trying to take off, you know, I couldn't, it was leaning on the tail because it's, the center of gravity was off. Let's try 3 to 1, see what happens there. I don't know what my turbines can spin up to right now, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll, you know, the devs have been pretty responsive to videos lately, and that's, I think, kind of, like, you need to show them how this is something that will not take you too much time, will make the game better, and will be well received by the community. And so something like that, I think, would be well received by the community. Shouldn't take too much time because you already have the infrastructure to make, you know, smaller containers. You already have the infrastructure to have missions where it can spawn an add-on, which essentially you could just make, you know, have pallets. It would help if I would just, like, show my standardized pallet system of, like, look, you know, you can use grippers for containers in these larger ships, and then instead of using more grippers, put the grippers on the pallets. This is how you could pick up pallets with a forklift. So this will make it so people want to build forklifts and trucks and planes, and this would give all the great airports we have in game use, because currently, like, why would I go to Ender? There's nothing to do there. You know, go to Tajan is a good way just to get to the Arctic, but there's nothing to do at Tajan. You know, Tajan's a cool base. It has an airport and it has a seaport. Well, now give us a reason to bring containers up there. So you fly your airplane up there, you get your little container mover, you drive it down to the docks, you dump your container off, you get a new one, you bring it up, you load your airplane. It brings in good gameplay, you know. And so by showing them that they're receptive to these types of things. Because, you know, they have a long list of things they want to do, and you got to show them how this thing or that thing is worthy of doing it. Right, roll. We have a problem with roll, certainly. So likely the roll could be backwards because I have to invert the roll. So I gotta see what's up with that. Roll's my problem here. Actually, it's, are we roll? Yeah, we're rolling funky. Yeah, my roll's funky. I gotta fix the roll. But we have enough thrust to get off the ground. You know, the containers, they lightened the containers quite a while ago now. The containers used to be pretty damn heavy. They're pretty light now, so you can put them in planes. So pitch works fine. Roll is causing me problems. I'll fix that. Yaw. Let's see if we yaw. Yep, yaw works fine. All right, let's go ahead and I'm trying to get us rolled out before I hit the fan. All right, let's go. There we go. So likely I'm way too high geared on the fans. Yeah, I'm way too high geared on the fans. I gotta drop the gear ratio on the fans. We're gonna fall out of the sky here if I'm not careful. I just really cut down the engine RPS. Let me try adding thrust. What's that? Oh, excellent. You finally sent me that. Great. Good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thrust is up, so likely what I'm doing is I'm over-gearing. I gotta figure out what's up with the roll. I gotta go through my rolls. Problem is the roll used to be on roll tilt, and now it's on the physics sensor, and so that actually works a little bit backwards. Let's save this. I'll show you my test bench for that. All right, so I have a little physics sensor test bench. It says tilt. Yeah, that's it. No. It's not it. There it is. So there's my physics sensor test rig because the, like if you look at the orientation of the tilt, you tilt that to the right, the physics sensor goes right, this one goes left. X is the tilt. So if your tilt sensor, if you used to use tilt sensors pointed to the left, that's going to be giving you opposite to what the physics sensor does now. So you know you'd need to flip them. Let's grab Night Owl. I want to check the... Why do I keep getting pinged? It's driving me nuts. I thought I had my dings off. You guys probably can't even hear it. Desktop audio's off. But all right, so this one is roll to the left. This one is roll inboard. Let's put it that way. Roll inboard. So I don't know why it's different. I did change the physics sensor up. Let's look at roll tilt on this and see what direction, because I might have inverted it by accident. So let's see, gyro yaw, gyro collective, gyro pitch, gyro roll, linear speed, which we don't have anymore, which I fixed. Where are you there, guy? Distance sensor, let's see. It's likely in the autopilot roll tilt right there. So I gotta see what direction the roll tilt's going in this, because if I have it pointed to the right, I did not need the inversion. So roll tilt right there. Now it looks like roll tilt is off to the left. So yeah, it should be inverted at this point. Yeah, so that should be an inversion on this roll tilt here. Let's see it in autopilot on Night Owl. So here is roll tilt, non-inverted. Here is, let's see, that's probably, no, that's yaw. It's going there, okay. All right, so that means that it needs to be inverted with the physics sensor. And we'll just grab the helo, because I had to do the same thing over here. Should be inverted on this one. So right here, 16. 16 is the roll off that, and as you can see, it's inverted. So let's make sure it's inverted on this build. Alright, so that's what I'm talking about with the camera. The first move of the day going in the editor does that shit. Drives me nuts. Alright, for the autopilot, I'm pretty sure I inverted that. That is right here, 16 off of the physics sensor is inverted. Goes in here. Yep. And then what's that off of here? That's off of that. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So I don't know what's up with the roll. Roll to gyro there. Let's make sure that the VTOL controller's plugged, everything's plugged in correctly. Camera did it again. Gyro collective to up down. Gyro yaw to yaw. Roll to roll. Pitch. Starboard pitch. Let's make sure that's correct. So we can do pitch on both sides. I've got these flipped. Pitch. Let's go pitch. Come on, pitch. Starboard collective. Starboard collective. All right. Starboard roll. Let's just do the top roll. Leave the other one. Starboard pitch. Both pitches should be done. All right. That is going to be pitch, pitch. That could be the problem that I didn't hook that in. Roll. Roll is just the top one. Collective, collective. Yeah, that's probably what it was. This one was running dual fans. This was running singles, so it's probably off on that. Thinking that's what it was. Let's spool up and try it. Take off in the hangar, just because if I can take off in the hangar and maneuver, we're in good shape. A little bit of a run there for Citrus. Yes, yeah, those passenger missions are fine, but they're all helicopter. That's what annoys me with it, is they're all helicopter. So like you'll be like, take people and take 2 police officers and their shit from Endare, and inevitably where do they go? To an island. So you only go to an island. So what I want to see is I want to see the same missions. No, thank you. I want to see the same missions, like take 2 passengers and their cargo crate from Endare to FJ. Take 2 passengers from Endare to O'Neill, so that you actually go airplane places. And that's what I was asking for when the QA. Again, you only get like a sentence to ask for it, so you know, no wonder like Deltars didn't know exactly what I was talking about. And then he thinks that what do you call it? Stormlink is still working. It's not. Stormlink is broken. And end of line stopped working a long time ago. Somebody took over and put in all the Industrial Frontier stuff. End of line stopped it, like, you know, before Industrial Frontier came out. And so it's like, you know, we don't have the ability to do any of that anymore. So, you know, and the other thing too is the add-ons again are like sometimes you know, for example, for Cap Air, I ran Cap Air with I ran cap air with its own save because I ran cap air with its own save because it was so resource intensive, because you might have hundreds of people on the map at a time. Beautiful. We're flying pretty well now. A little bit over touchy, but that's just tuning, because probably the rotors are moving too fast. But a little bit touchy, but that's just tuning. Like, my hands are off it now, so I'll let it sit with my hands off for a little bit. You know, so that's part of the problem, is like the passengers are everywhere, and so like you could close bases, you got to pay to reopen them. So I had my own cap air save for that very reason, was because it was acting up. Right, so yep, that was the problem, was I had accidentally not connected the other side on both fans. But yeah, this is plenty powerful. This should be able to hold 2 containers vertically. And a little bit of tuning, it will be smoother. Again, it's the different vehicle, so you move to a different vehicle, you got to tune it separately. So flies pretty well. All right, let's take it back in the workbench. I need to work the gear ratios on these fans. So I'm running a 6-to-1. That's not going to cut it. Wrong way there, guy. That is a 9. That's 4-5. That is a 18 divided by 5. I forget what that is off the top of my head. 18 divided by 5. 3-6. Let's try running these 3-6s and see what happens. And we'll up it as necessary. So that's the 2 big fans. That's a lot to turn 2 big fans like that. So I want to see what we get for speeds. Alright. My phone is blowing up. Just a second. Let's get out of the hangar here. My phone's going off non-stop, so Jesus Christ. I answered a message, now it's continuing. Get in the seat. No wonder nothing's working. Stand in the seat like a jackass. This wing is right on the money for width. Alright, so it's important to have the middle of the fans where the middle of the containers are going to be, so that you can put one, if you put one container in, it's got to be in the middle. If you put 2 containers in, you split them. And then that will, you know, do weight and balance for you. So right now, hands are off, so it's flying pretty well. Let's go ahead and spam in the fan. So you can see it handles, the center of thrust is pretty close to the center of gravity. It did not pitch up much, but that tells me the center of thrust is below the center of gravity. Perfectly fine. That's just where it is. All right, let's look at our speed. We're doing 130 knots, so likely we're over-encumbering those still too much, so the gear ratio is still too high. That doesn't surprise me with having 2 big fans on each engine. So likely what that's doing is, actually that's still pretty high. I don't know, we might be able to actually increase. I'll have to see what the, I'll have to see. We'll do some tests on that. Well, like these fans are now disconnected. They're still connected, but for the most part, they are not, they're not controlling anything. Let's take that off, fly like a normal person. So like, you can tell if your center of thrust is in line with center of gravity. If I let go, you can see where it is now. That's not necessarily just the center of thrust, but I can do a little bit of trim. So it will tell me if it's the center of thrust is we'll trim. I can figure out where the center of thrust is. So right now we're pretty much trim. I'm gonna get us where I don't have to touch it. Right there. So I don't have to touch it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut back the thrust and see if the nose pitches down or up. So I'm pulling back the fans. And, well, pull them back enough, we'll slow down enough, it will start to drop. But let's see what my speed is when I do it. Okay, so we probably have a little bit of a low center of thrust by a little bit, but not by much. They're pretty well in line. So I need a little bit more rudder to coordinate. All right, so one thing we can test is as I pull the fan clutch back, if we accelerate. So here's a test. So let's add the fan all the way in. All right, so you notice as I add the fan in, we are slowing down. So that means that the engine is not strong enough to run that at 100% clutch. Well, that's not really the way to put it. Is as I load up the engine, it is restricting the power of the engine. It's slowing the engine down because the engine doesn't have enough grunt. And so if I want to go faster, I need to reduce the gear ratio, because if we watch here, as I reduce the fan, we'll actually speed up. So that is unburdening the engine. So as you can see, we're going faster. Let's bring it back a little bit more. So I don't need blistering speed on this, but I'd like a little bit more than that. So likely what we want to do, there's the ocean coming up at us. Pull you back. Let's drop the gear ratio on the... Let's drop the gear ratio on this. Probably take a break after that. So let's go down. We're currently at a 3.6. Let's go ahead and we will go symmetry. So this is a lot of work to be done here with these fans. So we probably want to run a lower gear ratio. So let's run 2 to 1s and see where we get on that now. So we've gone from a 3.6 to a 2.1. Let's test this out and then we'll probably take a break. But good progress on this. The guts are working. It's flying. You know, cockpit work takes forever, do all that, but a lot of this has been done already because we're using Night Owl's panels, but a bunch of stuff's going to get moved around. Am I sit in the seat or am I stand in the seat? Stand on the seat, right? So we should be able to go faster, theoretically. Eventually we're going to get to the point where as we cut the gear ratio down, we just spin the fan slower. But I want some pretty good fuel efficiency with this. I'd rather have reasonable fuel efficiency and go 200 knots, 250 knots. I'd like to get around 250 minimum probably. You know, we don't want this so fuel hungry that the 2 containers we take burn, you know, we don't make any money on them. You know, the point is we need to bring 2 containers up, 2 containers back, and we need to make a profit. We don't need to make ridiculous profit, but we need to make a profit, you know. Let's go ahead, we'll put that on. So the gear ratio on the lift fans is pretty good right now. All right, let's kick in the fans. Transitions really well, doesn't have any problem, doesn't misbehave. Alright, so likely the gear ratio is too low now. Yeah, gear ratio is too low. We're actually going slower now. So again, I'm not gonna slip the clutch, like I'm not abusing any glitches or any of that silly nonsense. Yeah, so likely, so what we've done, so like, say we want to go faster now, because the gear ratio is so low, we can spool up the engine to be higher. So we could put a higher RPS value on that, but that's going to burn more fuel. So, and we have infinite fuel on right now too, so we're getting better performance than we will when I actually burn the fuel. But again, this is a cargo plane. It's designed to move, you know, big ticket containers. It does not need to be screaming fast. It's supposed to be hauling the cargo, you know, and so that is its main job, and that's the main thing it needs to do. So that's what likely we're going to aim toward, is that. See if I can get the weather to not suck right now, and then I can take a reasonable picture. There we go. Take a reasonable picture of this. For a screenshot for tomorrow, probably. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll take this back, and I think we'll call it quits there. But good progress on this. We'll save it up. Seems like everything's working really well, just tweaking. That's good. You know, Night Owl systems work really well, so that's kind of why I'm sticking with that. But, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next one.